You're not filming this? This is an important aspect. Like, come on. Hi, I'm Marisa Mariella, and welcome to My Easy Kitchen for Hamilton City Magazine. Who doesn't love a cupcake? Doesn't matter how old you are, what kind of party it is. A cupcake is just a joyful thing. And this cupcake has strawberries because it's June and we know that this is a season for strawberry picking. It's a little bit of a different recipe, so follow along, and at the very end I'm going to share something very, very important about this recipe. We're going to start off with the dry ingredients. I have here the flour and some sugar. Now if you look at the amount of sugar, okay, take a look. Yes, it has a lot of sugar. It's a cupcake, it's not a health muffin or anything like that. I've got here baking powder, baking soda, and just a touch of salt. Did you know that salt does wonders in baked goods? It really accentuates the flavors and doesn't make them feel so sweet. I know you could put less sugar, but don't try it on this recipe. This one here is really an exact science. So I am whisking everything. So you notice that the sugar went in here. You might be thinking, well, that's a little odd because usually you add the sugar and the butter or the oil, but not for this recipe. This is called reverse creaming. So I've got all those dry ingredients there and I've got my oil. Okay, I can hear you already saying, oh my gosh, that's a lot of oil. Yeah, it is. It's a cupcake. And so we want it to be moist and really velvety in your mouth. So yes, it does have a little bit of oil. And you could use melted butter, but I'm keeping this dairy-free. So I'm mixing everything together. I'm gonna switch to my egg beater actually. And I'm going low because I don't want to be wearing this, and this is gonna go for about a minute or two. Okay, so take a look at this. It should look like wet sand. All right, look at that. I'm gonna just close it, and there you go. It's not really like a batter the way you would expect. It's like wet sand. Okay, we're leaving this to the side, and we're going to puree the strawberries. So sometimes when I've made this recipe, I've used like a really nice thick fruit juice. In Italian, it's a succo di frutta. So it's like a fruit puree, not apple juice or anything like that. That's way too liquidy. So we've got here our strawberries. Don't use those really fresh, juicy strawberries because it adds too much moisture to the batter. And again, keeping it dairy-free, I've got here some oat milk. So I'm gonna give this a little whiz and make it into a puree. So I just want to show you, it doesn't come out completely like a puree. There's still like little chunks of strawberry in there, but that's okay. So that's fine. You don't want big chunks though. So the egg whites, to hear my dog. So my dog, one of my dogs right now is talking, and maybe she's a little bit displeased with the other dog. So anyway, they'll figure it out. So I've got the egg whites in there, and I'm just gonna give that a little whisk. Not a lot. I'm not trying to make a meringue here. I'm just trying to incorporate those egg whites. Okay, we've settled that argument between the dogs. They're good. So now I have my liquid here. I'm gonna add a little bit of vanilla. Because these are a very white or a light colored cupcake, I'm using clear vanilla. Oh, okay, trying to buy the best vanilla you can afford because it makes such a difference. Okay, so we're gonna add half of this to here, just half. Okay, and we're gonna keep it on low, and we're going to incorporate it, and then I'll show you what the next step is. Okay, I'm going to turn that off just so you can see it a little bit better. Really doesn't look like a cupcake batter, right? But just trust the process. So the rest of it is going in. There we go. And we are not going to beat this to incorporate a lot of air. We're just going to go low and slow until it forms a really nice thick batter. Okay. We are all done. Take a look. See what I mean? Now it looks like a cupcake batter. Look at that. Okay, here is a trick that I learned a couple of years ago, and it makes filling the cupcake tin so much easier. Let me just clean up here. This is my hack. I use an ice cream scoop. I have Meredith here nodding. Have you done this before? Okay. It works well when it's a nice thick batter. If it's a thinner batter, I use a squirt bottle, and that helps me keep nice and tidy. And you notice how big my cups are here? That's because I like big cupcakes. If you like something smaller, then of course you adjust. These do rise quite a bit, so only go about halfway. I forgot to tell you one important step. I forgot to tell you. I'm going to tell you now. So this batter, I should have really covered it with plastic wrap and let it sit on the counter for at least an hour, or better yet, overnight in the fridge. I didn't do that, but that's okay. I already have some baked up and they came out beautifully. These will come out fine. It's just the texture might not be as light and fluffy as the other ones. So even if you have to hurry up and bake them, they'll be fine. Okay, how does that look? So from this one here, you'll get about 16 large cupcakes. So you can have some and maybe freeze some for another time. All right, oven is at 350 degrees. I'm going to finish these off and bake them. Okay, I'm sorry. I get really excited when cupcakes come out of the oven. I hear no cheering in the background. What is going on? Look at these. Beautiful. Thank you. Labels are interesting things. In the kitchen, labels matter. They help us understand ingredients, make informed choices, and meet different needs. For a recent recipe, I used flour, like the one today. It just happened to be gluten-free flour. I used milk, but actually it was dairy-free milk. Those labels mattered for the people who needed them, and they helped make something accessible to more people. But the labels were never the whole story. What mattered most was what happened when everything came together. The result was a delicious cupcake that people can gather around and genuinely enjoy. Some appreciate it because it meets a dietary need. Others simply think it tasted good and are often surprised to learn afterwards that it is gluten-free or dairy-free. Really? I couldn't tell, a lot will say. And maybe that moment of surprise says something important. Sometimes we decide something is not for us before we've truly understood it. We see a label and quietly assume we already know the full story. I wonder if we sometimes do this with people too. Labels can be meaningful and necessary. They can help people feel understood, find support, build community, and name important parts of their lived experience. Someone may identify as LGBTQ+. Someone may live with mental illness. Someone may come from a different race, religion, culture, or life experience. These identities and experiences matter, and they deserve to be acknowledged with dignity and respect. But no label tells the whole story of a person. A person is never only their diagnosis, identity, faith, or background. They are also their humor, resilience, kindness, struggles, dreams, wisdom, and humanity. When we stop at the label, we can unintentionally miss the richness of who someone truly is. And here's what I've come to believe. We don't have to fully understand another person's experience to treat them with care. We don't have to share the same beliefs, life story, or perspective to recognize someone's worth. Openness doesn't mean abandoning your own values or agreeing on everything. Sometimes it simply means staying curious, listening with compassion, and making room at the table for one another. Because every table becomes richer when more stories are welcomed to it. The beauty of a good recipe is not that every ingredient is the same, it's that each one contributes something important. And communities are not strengthened by sameness either. They grow stronger when people with different experiences, perspectives, and gifts are treated with dignity and belonging. Maybe the lesson isn't to ignore labels. Labels can matter. Maybe the invitation is this: don't stop at the label. Stay curious enough to discover the whole person. After all, we all deserve a place at the table. Favorite part of the show? I'm going to take a cupcake. And I know that some people like to split their cupcake in half and kind of turn it into a sandwich. I don't do that. And I don't get too hung up if I end up with a little frosting on my nose. It's okay. I'm good with that. I love it when the paper comes off so nicely. And I just want to show you the texture. Okay, can you see that? Big reveal. I'm not sure which camera is here. Look at this. Look how nice and soft that is. Lovely. I'm going to go for the top because I want some of the frosting. So good. One of the best cupcakes I've ever had. So good. I hope you try these cupcakes, and you know what? Do yourself a favor, tell your guests that these are beautiful cupcakes that they're going to enjoy. Don't label them like anything, okay? These are for everybody. We'll see you next time on Marisa's Easy Kitchen for Hamilton City Magazine. Gonna have another bite. Too bad for you guys. I'm eating them all. Really good.